The movie opens at a lake house where a girl named Teresa is relaxing by the water when she becomes irritated with Caleb for scaring her with his drone. Teresa decides to go to the cabin to check on her friend, who has been feeling under the weather ever since they arrived. When Teresa enters the room, Jessica is already in bed, probably hungover. In response to Teresa's complaints about Caleb, her friend simply lies there and grunts incongruously. Jessica remains silent, even when Teresa starts calling Caleb a brainless meat puppet. Annoyed, Teresa decides to stay in the room and finish the book. She continues to read Wuthering Heights in the bedroom and recites a passage in an increasingly grotesque voice, causing Jessica to fall out of bed. Teresa comes over to check on her and offers help, but Jessica grabs Teresa's ponytail and scalps her. Caleb, who is still playing with his drone, notices Teresa running back to the dock. He is startled by her scalpless appearance. Quickly after, Jessica grabs the drone and shoves it into her own head. Everyone watching yells out, "Don't go in there!" when Jessica stumbles into the water, and Caleb foolishly jumps in after her to save her. A short while later, Teresa, who is in critical condition, as she watches in terror, sees Caleb's head severed from his body and plop on the dock. A woman named Beth is at a music venue with the band she works with one day earlier, taking a pregnancy test in the restroom. When she sees the outcome, she gets a worried expression on her face. In another place, Beth's sister Ellie, a tattoo artist, lives with her 3 children, including young Cassie, who is fascinated by the macabre, as well as activist Bridget and aspiring DJ Danny. Jake, a neighbor who has a crush on Bridget, knocks on her door along with his younger brother Scott and invites her to watch the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, but she declines their invitation. In spite of the sisters' estrangement from one another and the tense nature of their relationship with their mother, Beth arrives at Ellie's apartment to speak with her. Even though Ellie hasn't spoken to Auntie Beth in a while, she was unaware that her husband abandoned the family months ago, despite the fact that the kids enjoy having her around. While she speaks to Beth, Ellie sends the kids to get pizza. She admits her mistake and asks Ellie's help to correct it once more. An earthquake that hits the apartment building causes a hole to appear in the parking garage when the kids return from getting pizza. The Naturum Demento Necronomicon, also known as the Book of the Dead, is a mysterious book that Danny discovers when he enters the hole. He returns the book to the apartment and shows it to Bridget, who is not pleased with what he discovers. When Danny tries to open the book, he cuts his hand, and the book opens as a result of the blood on it. Danny hears the voice of a priest discussing the Necronomicon's nature while listening to one of the records after Bridget leaves the room. The priest is reciting an unholy incantation as Danny observes terrifying drawings in the book. Ellie is returning to the elevator to grab some things when she is suddenly attacked by an invisible force that painfully ties her to the elevator cables. Ellie returns to her apartment, which has been taken over by the Deadites, a type of demon. She starts tossing eggs onto the pan, some of which contain blood. Ellie begins to talk calmly about slicing her children open and climbing inside of them before she begins to crawl after them. Before the real Ellie can speak and plead with Beth to stop the demons from taking her children, she throws up all over the floor. Then Ellie collapses and appears to be dead. In order to put Ellie to bed, Beth seeks the assistance of Mr. Fonda and Gabriel, 2 of Ellie's neighbors. Before Ellie suddenly appears to come to life again, Beth expresses her regret for her relationship with her sister. Beth and Danny attempt to place her in a bathtub of ice water because she is burning up. Ellie gets to her feet again and tells Danny, "Mommy's with the maggots now," and then she climbs to the ceiling and screams loudly. After that, Ellie makes an attempt to hurt her children by cutting Bridget's cheek with a tattoo pen before Danny knocks her off. Gabriel and Mr. Fonda try to exit the building through a fire escape after the building's power goes out in order to get assistance. Deadite Ellie escapes the apartment after Beth and the kids lock her out, and she then chases after the neighbors. Before killing Jake and Scott with extreme brutality, she bites out Gabriel's eye. Mr. Fonda aims his rifle at Ellie, but she manages to disarm and mutilate him. Gabriel is still alive until Ellie severs his throat. She then makes an attempt to re-enter the apartment. Bridget starts oozing ink from every pore on her face as her wound darkens and turns black. She also vomits up insects, turning into a deadite. While this is going on, Ellie's deadite self tries to con Cassie into opening the door for her by pretending to be her mother. Beth and Danny manage to keep Ellie outside. Beth discovers Bridget chewing on a wine glass while she is squatting on the kitchen counter. She then pursues Beth, using a cheese grater to sever one of her legs. Bridget pushes her siblings after that until she charges Cassie, who is holding one of her homemade dolls' pointed ends, and impales Bridget through the mouth, seemingly killing her. Then, for her safety, Danny ties her up and places her in bed. In addition to revealing the Book of the Dead to Beth, Danny also shows the vinyl fragments to her. Bridget begins to stand up as Ellie, using the vents as a ladder, enters the apartment again, killing a cat that was implicitly crawling inside them. Beth listens to the vinyl and overhears the priest talking about how he had to kill his possessed companions, seemingly finding no other way to kill them until he had to completely dismember them. Meanwhile, Bridget stabs Danny as Ellie pursues Beth, till Cassie separates Ellie from Beth and the deadite gets the hint that Beth is expecting. The creature almost rejoices in killing them both. While Danny perishes, Bridget returns after briefly being set ablaze. Beth then makes the decision to make an effort to escape the situation without harming Cassie or herself. Even though the neighbors Ellie killed have turned into deadites, Beth and Cassie still attempt to make it to the fire escape. With deadite Danny now accompanying them, Ellie and Bridget pursue the suspects. Beth shoots Ellie's arm and leg off before she and Cassie make their way down. Danny and the bodies of their neighbors have been possessed, prompting Beth and Cassie to seek shelter in the damaged elevator. Ellie, Bridget, and Danny morph into the Marauder, a multi-limbed creature that climbs atop the elevator to attack the pair as the machine fills with blood. As a result of the combined weight, the elevator crashes to the ground, letting Beth and Cassie run into the parking lot. When Beth and Cassie reach the parking garage, they are just about to make it out when Beth's car gets stuck in a pothole. They hide as the spider deadite approaches. They were about to leave when the deadites grabbed Cassie. The deadites turn on a wood chipper and attempt to drag Beth into it, but Cassie is able to stop it. Ellie, Bridget, and Danny are forced into the wood chipper as Beth snatches the chainsaw and uses it to slice them. Cassie then turns the machine back on. In spite of her regret, Beth tosses deadite Ellie's head into the wood chipper as she watches her sister, niece, and nephew die. In response to Cassie's tears of loss for her family, Beth consoles her and leads her outside. The next day, it is revealed that Jessica lives on the floor below Ellie and the kids. She comes across the bloody scene from the previous night as she is getting ready to meet Caleb and Teresa, and is attacked by an unseen demon as she screams in terror. Subscribe for more videos like this, and turn on the notifications so you never miss any of them.